Hello world and welcome back to Kerbal's space program. In the last episode we were able to land and return from Minmus. And unfortunately I already started playing this. I know I tried to record it but then the recording failed. So I already did a whole bunch of stuff. But I haven't done any missions yet, so I'm just going to show you what I did quickly and then we can get on with the missions that I have planned. First off, over here I have accepted that we're going to go to Eve. And Eve is a very easy planet to go and land on. It's not very easy to return from. So that's why I thought it would be a really good place to start for interplanetary missions. And the first body that we're going to land our science lab on. However, I want to get a little bit more science, and I'll show you why. Now, as you can see, since the last episode we researched a whole bunch of science. Namely these things up here, which allow me to have much bigger parts. And this is the LV-9 atomic rocket motor, basically, otherwise known as the nuclear engine. This is the most efficient rocket engine in the game. So there's other engines that are more efficient at different moments, but they're not considered rocket engines. This is the most efficient rocket engine. I got this part here. I got the docking port, which allows me to connect two crafts together, which is really good. If you can have a craft stuck in orbit, you can just dock another craft with it and it'll be safe, or at least it'll be able to refuel it. Give it power, whatever it needs. And over here we got some lights, some solar panels, and some advanced solar panels, some more advanced batteries, some construction parts. So we got a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to research. But unfortunately, I ran out of science. I only have 7 left. But what I really want to research is this, because it has the Pres-Mat barometer. And if we're going to go all the way to Eve, it makes sense that we can research enough science to get the barometer so that we can maximize our return on the mission. So I built a small little probe that is going to get us some extra science before we go and finish our mission to go to, well, not finish our mission, go to Eve. Alright, we have this little probe here, and its goal is to get into interplanetary space and back and collect quite a bit of science. There's a lot of science in interplanetary space, and this is kind of will be very useful for our astronauts who will be going to Eve, kind of to know more about what space far away from the planet Kerbal is like. So let us launch. And we lost the solid fuel boosters. There we go. And this should get us on a very high suborbital trajectory, and then our little probe will be able to get into orbit, to interplanetary space, and then back. That's the plan. And we lost this stage, and we're not quite in orbit yet, but we have this probe, and it should be able to get us into orbit, to interplanetary space, and back. Alright, we have planned our encounter with interplanetary space. So we're just going to eject ourselves and then shoot our engines to go back to Kerbal. And once we get back into an encounter with Kerbal, we'll just readjust and hit the atmosphere to get us to where we need to be. So let us go, get ready, and burn. Alright, so we're going to begin our burn, and we're just going to shoot out and fly back. That's the plan. There we go. Oops. So these are retractable solar panels. And so you just right click on them, might retract, and they'll fold out, rotate around, and try and pick up the light of the sun to give us electric charge. Now we really don't have to worry about electric charge. And this is what's eating up the electric charge. Not enough electric charge. Yes, you have enough electric charge. Yeah, you have plenty. This will, this piece in the middle will allow us to rotate the craft more efficiently and create additional torque. So normally the pod would, so this thing right here, our little probe, would only be able to generate a very little bit of torque, so a very little bit of spin in the craft, but this can generate a much higher degree of spin. So let's see how we're going. We're doing pretty good. We're doing on fuel. I don't think it'll take too much fuel to return, so we're doing pretty good so far, though. and there we go. The interplanetary space. So we're just going to go into interplanetary space and then shoot towards Kerbin. So let's set Kerbin as our target. Alright. Oh, we can't set Kerbin as target. We're going to have to wait till we get to interplanetary space. So let us get launched from Kerbin. And here we go, being launched. There we go. We are now in interplanetary space. Let us quickly collect our science. There we go. Getting a lot of science in this one, 275. So we just gotta make sure that we get this safely back to Kerbin. Alright, so now set Kerbin as a target. And we're gonna try burning towards it and see what happens. Is that working? Is that towards it? No, that is not towards it. This is towards it. I've been burning the wrong direction. I'll shoot. There we go. There we go. So we're gonna be able to return. We're gonna enter and then fly back around Kerbin. There we go. So we just flung into interplanetary space, collected science. Now we're gonna return. Let's see. My perhaps is low enough. Nope. Just gotta make a quick adjustment, and we'll see you as we re-enter. All right, we've entered the atmosphere. And again, we're coming in at a pretty high speed, and the solar panels are going to get ripped off. I'm going to attract one, maybe two, just so if I need to, I can power it up. But these other ones are going to be ripped off as they hit the atmosphere at about 3 kilometers a second. Re-entry effects, solar panels getting ripped off. Now, there they go. Whee! And we're landing over land, which is a very good thing because I brought the landing legs, so I want to be able to use them effectively. And we've landed. Recover the vessel. Let us get the science. Alright, 502 science earned. That is good. And we got some of our funds back. We still have most of our funds. So let us get this one here. And that has the barometer. So now we can add the barometer to any part we want. And let us research these two while we're at it. There we go. We got those researched. So let me show you what I built. Alright, so this is going to eat through about half of our budget, but hopefully it will pay for itself once we be able to use it. Welcome to the Eve Lab and Prolonged Refuge MK1. So up at the very top, we have our lab. Now, this is the science lab in the middle of it, and this is our goal to get on every body. But I didn't think it's fair just to force 2 Kerbals to sit in here and then be stuck on Eve until we manage to find rescue missions. So I have added this, and this is extra living space. So they'll be living in luxury on top of an Eve. So they have a home, and they have an ability to do the science. We have a lot of solar panels, a lot of we have rockets that we can control it. We have all the scientific data. I have made some tweaks with the new parts that we added. So I added the barometer. So now we have a lot of science. Right here we have our interplanetary transfer stage. Now I added underneath these docking ports, there is a little core probe. So this interplanetary transfer stage can be controlled by itself. So if in the case that we have extra fuel in this tank, we can use it later by docking with it and either filling it up or having it fill up other things. And down here we have the launch stage, which will get this whole behemoth into orbit and hopefully on a trajectory towards Eve. So let us go. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Takes out very nicely. Alright, we lost the first pair, and I'm using asparagus staging, so we drop the pair as it runs out of fuel and it fills up all the other pairs. So right now these 5 orange tanks and their rockets are full of fuel, or at least they were at the moment when I dropped them. Lost the second pair. Lost the last pair, and now we have this last orange tank, and this should be able to get us all the way into orbit. And we are in orbit, and we still have a lot of extra fuel in our orange tank and these 2 tanks. So this will help us because we can transfer fuel from these tanks into this tank, but when these tanks are empty we can then ditch them with the decoupler here. So let us turn off the mainsail and turn on these 2 engines. There we go. So now we just have to plan our encounter with Eve. Alright, we have reached interplanetary space. There we go. So let us set Eve as our target. We are going to want to cancel out our inclination. So right now our orbit, it's hard to see, but they're not at the same plane. So I'm going to change my orbit so that it is at the same plane. There we go. So now we are on the same plane as Eve. So let us go and plan an intersection. Alright, we planned our encounter, our rather quite terrible encounter. If I had planned this better, I would have been able to do this without having to spend so much fuel, but fortunately I have a lot of fuel in my interplanetary transfer stage, so this should be able to get us all the way to Eve. So let us go and do this burn. Alright, we've begun our our slight adjustment burn. So let us go and look. And this is going to take a while, so let us time accelerate. There we go. And I'll see you once we get our encounter. Alright, we've planned our encounter and we've executed it, and that only took about 20 to 30 minutes, so that took forever. So next time I'm going to plan it out more efficiently. But let us go and get our encounter. Alright, we have gotten our encounter with Eve. We've done an EVA report, so let us go and transfer the data. Oh, I can do a quick report in here. Oh, I can just transfer that. There we go. Good stored data. Transfer that. There we go. 35 science, 56 science, and 75 science for transmitting money data. And we got some money. So we just got to get into orbit. Hopefully we can hit the atmosphere and not be slowed down too much by it. So let us see how this goes. Alright, we did the aero brake and we got into an orbit. Not quite an orbit, because our periapsis is too low, so this is considered a suborbital trajectory. So let us go and make this an actual orbit. And I think once that gets to one, nope, right there, that's it. There we go, got some money. We can ditch this, transfer stage. There we go. And so now just get a little boost to get away from our transfer stage. And actually we want to boost this away from it that way. And we are going to go and attempt a landing. Alright. Let us see how this goes. Alright, we're going to land over land in the middle of this valley, so it should be pretty flat. So this is going to be a pretty good landing. I just got to hope and pray that our parachutes don't rip our craft apart. But I tested this craft before off camera, and this should be able to hopefully keep us alive. In addition, I have these rockets to help slow our descent, so hopefully we won't be going too fast. This is going really slowly. I always forget how thick Eve's atmosphere is. That's good because we're using parachutes, but that's one of the reasons why we're pretty much never going to get back, which is why I made this elaborate home slash base for them to live on and do science on. Alright, I see the ground, so parachutes should be deploying soon. There they are. And it didn't rip our craft apart, so we're just going to head in first. Nice safe landing. Alright, landing. Slowing ourselves down. There we go, 1 meter per second. And touchdown! Alright, quick save. And we got some money from landing on Eve. Let's see, can we do a report? Yes, we can. We can transfer it. Alright, but let's just make sure to deploy the solar panels. So we have power. Alright, log pressure data. Atmosphere is very dense at the surface. It crushes down instrumentation. So this is the reason why I want to have a science lab, is because I can process it and get more science than what it's originally worth. So I can get an additional 25% science from this. So let us... Oh, but I'm going to need 2 crew in here. So let us take 2 crew. Oop, we're still in time acceleration. Two crew into the lab. There we go. And Jeremy Kerman is going to be the first person to walk on the surface of Eve. He's going to be the one planting our flag. There we go. Alright, he's sinking in the surface. So this is some kind of quicksand. So we're going to take the surface sample, do the EVA report, plant the flag, and we're going to leave. A base for science and the future. Alright, let's get back in. Alright, let's just hop on the ladder. Come on, hop on the ladder. Hop on the ladder. There we go. So, I could actually, if I really needed to, I could lower the landing legs or some of the landing legs to bring the ladder down lower. So we're just going to go back up to our luxurious home. There we go, and we're just going to keep trying to get as much as we can from this little science lab as we can. So let's extend these solar panels so we can get all the electricity from the sun. We can turn off the lights. We don't need them right now. We're going to save those for night. And I think this is my first manned landing of Eve. I've been to Eve many times, but I've never landed on it with people. I never planted a flag because I've always felt bad for the people that would be stranded here. So I'm glad with this solution of building a giant home for them to live on. That way, at the very least, they have a lot of accommodations that they can use. Alright, let's start transmitting. Alright, report. Okay, that's not useful. Here to store data. Transmit that. Surface sample. Let's boost that. There, look at that. Look at this awesome base. Just soaking up the science from the sun and being able to transmit science. Alright. Clean process lab data. That process. Just transmit everything. There we go. Oh, and I'm actually picking up so much solar power that I'm actually not running out. So this is actually doing very well. 571 science. Oh, it just had 90, so 661. There we go. We've created a communication base with plenty of electrical charge to should be able to last us through the night. And we've got all of the science we could from the surface, and we've completed all of our contracts. Explore Eve. There we go. That just exploring Eve paid for this giant craft. And this will enable us to go and do more missions in the future. And I got even more science. So what do we have? Got a lot of science. 677. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.